Hi, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a little bit different, so I'm just going to narrate voiceover from my slideshow. So I made this video because I've tried out several different software on my motion controller, and I require a software that lets me do multiple parts with one setup. So today we're going to talk about work offsets and extended work offsets, and what are they? So the standard work offset is like G54, 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. Those are your 6 standard work offsets that most all motion control software is going to have. Now, you do get a few extras. Some software gives you a G59 1 or 2 or 3, which gives you 9 offsets. And that's okay. I mean, most of the machines that you're going to come across, if you have a vise on them, then 9 positions is, very sufficient. But we're going to talk about today's technology. We can get router tables, 4x8, 5x10 router tables, really cheap. I mean, not like it was years ago. And so a lot of people are having these workshops in their garage. And it's nice to be able to have a big machine that you can machine 100 parts at one time if you want to. But drawing 100 parts in your CAD program is ridiculous. So it's nice to have, a work offset. Okay? And then if you're going to do more than 9, it's nice to have an extended work offset. So extended work offsets like in Mach 3, when you get to the G59, G59 P7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to G59 2, P253 are additional offsets that you can use for fixture positions. Now the software has a table in it that you can fill in these positions so that you can say, these are the locations of all the vices on my machine. In Mach 4, they're a little different. It's G59, then it goes to G54.1, P1, and so on up to 100. So, why would you ever use these? Well, they locate, fixed positions on your work surface, like I said. So if you have, whether it be hold down positions or vices or whatever, each one of these positions locates your part. So after you run your job, you can put down new stock and just hit go and cut them again. Helps you replicate parts from one CAD file G-code rather than having to draw it multiple times. And with the extended work offsets, you can replicate more than the typical 9 work offsets. Also, you can enable custom positions for tool height settings or, tool changes. There's so many different things you can do with work offsets. You don't necessarily need an extended work offset for a tool change, but it's nice to have those available. So typically on a CNC machine or table, here's G54. The machine says X0, Y0. Now it can be anywhere on that machine that you want it to be. It could be like here, or here, or here for that matter. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you jog the machine over to where you want it to be, and you hit home, that's G54. Same way with the other 8 positions. You can put them anywhere you want, and the machine will remember where they're at, regardless of being homed or not. To recall a position, you must home the machine. You can see we have in the light green, a little hard to read on the background, but you can see the X0Y0, X0Y5, and X8Y0. So when you locate G54 and you hit home and call it G54, if you home the machine, you can completely recall this position every time, even if you power cycle the machine. So what is homing a machine? Well, it's a specific position that the machine goes to so it knows exactly where it's at in its work area. It's typically done with like switches or some way to tell the machine how far the X, the Y, or Z has traveled to its home location. Now, you can sort of cheat the system, and you can go over and crank it manually until you feel the gantry stop and don't run the machine into a crash position, but you can technically home it by doing it that way. And that's what I used to do before I had switches. I would just crank the machine over until I felt the gantry stop, and I said, well, there's X, max out. And once I did that, I would fire the machine up and hit home and say, you're home now. Then you have to have your data on how far the machine moves in each position, and you usually enter this into the software, and it'll tell the machine how far it can travel. That way you can kind of enable like soft limits and whatnot. Once you home the machine, it puts the machine in machine coordinates mode. So that way it knows exactly where every position on that table is at any time. All you have to do is home the machine, and once you call out your positions, that's where they'll go every single time. So technically there's no way to recall a specific position within any accuracy unless you home the machine with micro switches. So here's an example of your work offset. G54 at machine coordinate X 2.0, Y 3.0. So it's a simplified layout of a homed machine. So here you see the scale 1 to 4 going in Y, 1 to 4 going in X, and then 0 in the lower left corner. The 2, 3, there's your G54 position. Alright, so there you can see the work coordinates are located inside the machine coordinates. So that's the way it works. Work coordinates are located inside your machine coordinates. There's no way to accurately recall the work coordinates unless you know the machine coordinates. So without machine coordinates, you would not be able to find a specific work coordinate on a power cycled machine. Machine can now operate in quadrant mode, which allows negative and positive moves relative to the origin, example G54. So with this, you can see the dead center is your G54. So 1 would let you go in the X positive, Y positive position. 2 is X negative, Y positive. 3, X negative, Y negative. And 4, be Y negative, X positive. So here's a 9-position fixture on a homed machine. So it knows where every one of these fixtures are located after you home the machine. Now with the work offset table, the positions can be anywhere. All you have to do is tell it where each position is. So under each square you can see the X and Y. These positions would be noted in the work offset table. So let's just imagine a work area with 40 positions. Say you're doing 40 parts at one time. As long as these data points are entered in your offset table, you can recall these positions at will. You could start a part at any one of these positions you wanted to. So if you already had a job that was not completely done, and it was located in G54 or G55, and you had a job come in the shop that you wanted to do and not have to take them out of the vise, you could start it at G56, G57, or G58. It wouldn't matter. As long as your machine's homed and you have an offset table or you have a way to record these positions, you can start the job at any position you want. So to access these positions, we need a homed machine and a work offset table. The darker squares are the extended work offsets. Not all software is going to give you these extended work offsets. So if you don't have the capability of a work offset table, you're limited to possibly 9 positions maximum. So here's G54 on a homed machine, 55, skipped 55, 56, 57, 58, and 59. So this is the Mach 3 fixture table. And this is where you would enter in all the information that would locate each vise on your machine. So here's Mach 4. It's a little bit different. When it gets to G59, it changes. It doesn't go to P7, it goes G54.1, P1. So do you not have a fixture table? If your control software only lets you jog to the position and select the offset position, you're limited to how many different fixture setups you can have on your table. With a fixture table, you can manually enter the X and Y positions of your devices or work holding fixtures located on your work surface and start working. So you could have a setup sheet and you can actually go in and say, okay, here's the new fixtures that we're going to run for the whole week. You could manually enter these numbers in a fixture table and put all your parts down, hit go, and start cutting. With a fixture table, you can manually enter the X and Y positions, devices of work, holding fixtures located on your work surface, and start working, like I just said. Without a fixture table, you will have to jog to each vice or work holding positions and manually zero each position before you can start working. You'll notice on the software, some software only has it listed G54, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So what you would have to do is jog your table over to your second vice, select the button that says G55, hit 0, X and Y, then jog over to G56, hit X and Y. You know, you can do it. It's just a fixture table that lets you manually enter in information, makes it a lot easier. Alright, software that offers extended work offsets: Mach 3, 4, Haas, Akuma, Doosan, Mazak. So the last 4 on that list is way out of my price range. You can obtain Mach 3 or 4 very, very economical. Like $170, I think, for the Mach 3 license. I don't remember the Mach 4, but you're still under $300, you know, for the license. And for someone that has a shop, like a maker shop in their garage, I mean, that's doable, you know, to purchase this. I've not experimented with other software, but as far as motion controllers, I've been experimenting with Pneumatics, and Pneumatics works great, but they don't offer extended work offsets. So for me, that's a deal killer. I don't want to go in and manually enter in any information in the G code, because I use Fusion 360, and it has the availability. It says, how many parts do you want to make? And I say 20, and it copies my G code 20 times, and all I have to do is fill in my fixture table, and I'm done. So I'm not interested in going the extra mile just to use a software that doesn't offer it. So if it does not offer a fixture table that I can fill data in, then I'm not going to use it. For instance, on a Haas or Akuma, on the actual setup screen, you actually have positions where you can go in, jog the machine over, tell it it's G55, and hit 0, and it enters it in there for you. So what can you afford? Most other major companies have this feature bundled, but I mean, like I said, do you have $75,000 to drop on a machine just so that you can use their software? You know, with me, you know, if you want to have like a $5,000 CNC router, and then let's say an $800 license for Fusion 360 and $170 for the Mach 3, that's totally doable. You know, you can make a lot of parts with that small investment. So Mach 3 or 4 does give you the ability to mount multiple fixtures on your work surface, just like the big old boys, but, you know, way less. If you're making multiple parts as a hobby or maker for parts to sell, why wouldn't we want this ability in our package? So all these other companies that are talking about, oh, we're better than Mach 3. Well, if you don't have a fixture table and you plan on making more than 9 parts at one time, then just don't even talk to me. There's no sense in trying to sell yourself across to me, because that's the way to go, is to be able to do multiple parts with one basic setup. With the extended work offsets, you can make as many parts as your software will allow. So right off the bat, on the demo version of Mach 4, I saw 100 positions. It was like 253 in Mach 3. 100 would be plenty for me. I require 20 when I do my dog tags. So with the extended work offsets, let's say you've got 100 parts on there. Well, right here we have 40 parts. Let's say I break a tool at P20. Well, I can change the tool, re-zero the tool, and start the job at G59 P21 and continue on. It's a great benefit in case of tool breakage, or if you have something happen with the part, it slipped out of a vise, you can stop the machine. You don't have to cut air on G54 all the way to G59 P20. You can start it at P21. So here's an example of the way that I use it. So there's 20 positions right there. Now I start out with one dog tag in my CAD file. It replicates it 20 times. I enter in all these positions in my software and I hit go, and that's it. It's simple. It's the best way to make money. This tag layout here I think took 17 minutes to cut. Well, I don't want to have to add any more time to that, because these things are only like $3 a piece, and I don't make a whole lot of money off of them, but I don't want to stand there in front of my monitor and edit G-code manually just so I can say I'm using someone else's software. So what if my software does not use a fixture table? Well, I read about the G10 command, and from what I can gather, this would actually fill in the fixture table for you. I'm not sure if the G10 would actually work on a software that does not actually have a physical fixture table available, but it seems like it would. Just search your manual and see if you can use the command. Some of the software only supports L2 and not L20. L2 is just the G54 to G59. The L20 is G-code that does the extended fixture table. So, like I said before, Mach 3 only supports the L2. Mach 4 does L2 and L20. Alright, so this code would be great for a dedicated machine that only does one job. The G-code would need to be edited for each specific setup. So if you had a long run of parts, you could probably use this code. But this is way beyond the scope of this video. Leans more towards the professional style manufacturing style of things, and basically this video is kind of pushing Mach 3 or Mach 4. A lot of you guys might hate it, but as far as manufacturing things more than 9 positions, it's actually pretty solid and pretty good software. Alright, so if you're making multiple parts on your machine, it's the best interest to find a motion control software that allows you to use a fixture table. When making multiple parts on your machine, find a CAD software that allows you to utilize a multiple work offset coordinate system, like Fusion 360. Find a motion control software that you can afford. Mach 3 and 4 is totally affordable. I've not tried any of the other ones, and I would be totally open for any suggestions. Find a CAD program that you can afford. You can get a free version of Fusion 360, but I prefer to use the paid version. That way I've still got some limits, but I don't have any of the limits that a free version does. Find a CAD program that has the best online support from multiple users. The Russian company, Pure Motion, Pneumatics, there is no support out there anywhere. You just got to read the manual and figure it out on your own. That sucks, and I don't like it. Software performs great, but it has no support. And find a CAD program that gives you the most versatile capabilities in many different areas. Love Fusion 360. Some of you guys hate it, but it is pretty versatile. Alright, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm open for any comments or suggestions that you have on this matter. And if there's anything that I missed, left out, or should add, just put them in the comments and we'll talk about it. Anyhow, thanks for watching.